Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily, also known as Bravo and Botox, to give you all the tea, gossip, information. You know, what other phrases are there? FYI? No, that doesn't work, does it? I can't think of any more. Okay. Word on the street. There's one. Word on the street. I've been watching Love Hotel. Speaking of Word on the Street, because Giselle is on that, and she always says that in her timeline. Good show. Highly recommend. Very good show. And I'm not just saying that. It's great. Like I didn't have high expectations in the first place, but it is like way blew my expectations out of the water. Like not even like a little, like I was like, this is a legit good show. Like I really enjoyed it. So I recommend. And I mean, I think they chose for good housewives to be on it, you know? Shannon is already like gonna crash out a million times. Like we're seeing previews for it. Giselle and Ashley are funny and also messy. And Luann is, just being just so Luann. And her voice is like as smokerish as ever. Like she sounds like she's smoking like, I don't know, like a pack a day. It's wild. But yeah, it's a good show. And they found some decent guys who are not like reality TV fans. So it's pretty wild. Anyways, a little recommendation before we start. But what are we going to start with? We're going to start with the Valley because here's a shitload of news from the Valley. I don't know how else to say it, but these people just never stop. I mean, first of all, they already filmed their reunion. Okay. So the reason that they did this, because I believe I reported it on here, but clearly not everyone knew, because I saw a lot of comments on the post of like, why the fuck are they already filming the Valley reunion? We're only 3 episodes in. It's because Kristen and Nia are pregnant and they are both due like very soon. They're both due in like a month or whatever. So I think they didn't want, like, you can't have the reunion without Kristen Doty. Like Nia, if it was just Nia, maybe we could. No offense to Nia, love her. And actually, maybe we couldn't because, I think Danny's handsiness is a storyline, and it seems like her and Janet have something. So I do think that we need Nia. But that being said, it's really like we're not doing it without Kristen Doty. Let's just be honest. So this is the reunion seating chart. I mean, I guess it's kind of wild, but it's Andy, Brittany, and Jax on either side. Again, I don't even feel great about Jax being at the reunion. Like, I don't know. The network is really trying to get us to not forgive, but to just be like, well, it's Jax. Like, I feel like that's the message. I don't know where I'm getting this message from. I guess from just general Andy / the way that, like, I was like on the Bravo Instagram the other day and they're doing this thing that's like the Valley van. I can't remember what it's called, whatever. It's like people from the Valley driving around in a van, like talking about the Valley, the show / the place, the Valley, and they're driving around in like a minivan. So it's the whole like parenting, trope. But Jax is in there, like driving around, like all smiley. And I'm like, I just don't feel the same watching Jax as I used to. And I always knew Jax was a terrible person. Like, it's not that this is new information. I think sometimes it's like we knew Jax was terrible based on all the terrible things we saw on TV. But I guess he hadn't crossed the line into like unwatchable terrible yet. That's the only thing I can think of. It's like the cheating and the coke and the like just being a general asshole. Like we all knew that. But I think like the violence thing just takes it to another level. And I think a lot of like how kind of manipulative and emotionally abusive he is, him and Brittany did manage to hide more of it than I think. I think because they were off TV for a while, you know, kind of our last time with them was sort of when they got married. And from all we could see from our vantage point was what they presented kind of on Instagram and on their podcast. So we just kind of were like, all right, I guess they're doing it. They're having a baby. And then the Valley came back and things have changed. But either way, I feel like the network does not want to kick Jax off the show. But I don't know. They might need to. They might have to put on their big boy pants and do that. Okay, so then next to Brittany, this is on the left, is Kristen, Luke, Nia, Danny, and Michelle. And a lot of people are like, why is Michelle on the end? You know, listen, Michelle, her personality is a little flat. That being said, you know, I don't want her off the show, but listen, this is a cast. Like, this is a cast, you know? So somebody's got to be on the end. And it doesn't necessarily, it's not like when we watch Housewives and you know there's some dead weight and they put them on the end and you're like, yeah, they're getting fired. Or like, this is like a show where the person on the end is on the end, but they're still coming back. Like, this is a show where like every cog in the machine matters, even if some of the cogs are a little more maybe flat on camera than other cogs. So Jesse is right next to Jax, which I'm sure he loves. Listen, based on the preview I saw for the Valley this week, it looks like Jesse is like fully going to be like kind of team Jax. So listen, if you're going to do that this season, then you're going to have to sit next to him and you're going to be associated with him. And people are going to judge you based on Jax's behavior because they're going to be like, well, if you're like seemingly kind of supporting him, then you support said behavior. So, you know, he's going to have to learn that the hard way, I guess, because I think Jesse, the first 2 or 3 episodes have been easy for him. You know, I think that Michelle has made kind of just some dumb moves, like strategically, like, you know, like bringing up him spending things on Isabel, bringing up the girl that he's sleeping with and how she's sleeping with other guys. And people are like, why are you bringing this up? Like, she's just made some fumbles that have made herself look dumb. But at the end of the day, she might have lost this battle, but she's going to win the war if you're going to, you know, be all like Team Jax. Like, it's just not going to work for you. So she's way on the end. Now, Sheena has something to say about this, everyone. Okay. Sheena says, yeah, I disagree with her being on the end, but I've been there too. LOL. Sheena, it's not about you. Like, I can't. Sheena cannot help it. Like, she legit, just like Jax cannot help like whatever personality disorder he has. And that's not an excuse for Jax. I'm just saying it's true. Sheena cannot help being Sheena. That's Sheena's personality disorder. It's called Sheena. It's called Shishu. She just can't help herself. Like, she's saying this and she's not even on this cast. Like I get what she's saying, but it's just, and we don't care if you disagree. You are a non-factor in the Valley. Like, this is like if Sheena was going on to the like Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion seating when it comes out soon. And she's like, I disagree with like Britt being on the end. I'd be like, okay, thanks for your opinion, Sheena. Great. Like, but no one asked, you know? It's kind of the same here. Like, I get that I get you're trying to like cosplay that you're part of this show and you're like doing these little scenes here and there and like trying to worm your way in there. But I see what you're doing. Okay. So then on the other side, you have Jax, Jesse, like I said, Janet, Jason. There's so many J names on this show. It's insane. Jasmine, another one. And then Zach. And then Zach also reposted and said, I may be last, but I also had the last word. Dun, dun, dun. Listen, I'm not worried about, like, to me, yes, I understand like being on the end can mean something, but again with this cast, I think this cast is just such a gong show of a mess that it doesn't really matter like where you put anyone. I think the only thing that does matter is maybe like first and second seed, and then the rest you could just like put their faces on the different sides of dice and roll it and just be like, okay, whatever, and it'll make sense. Like just keep the couples together and let's be on our way, right? Okay, so we got the seating chart. They filmed. Andy said, what did he say? Andy said he's been sitting between Jax and Brittany, and it has not been good, as you can tell, but he's a positive person and he's hoping that they can all leave at the end with a smile on their face. Yeah, I don't know about that, Andy, but okay. Meanwhile, Brittany was on Watch What Happens Live and she had things to say. So she was asked about her and Stassi. She said they are cordial, but Stassi has not reached out to her. But she said it's okay. She's okay. Like she didn't seem salty about it. She said they just, they're cordial. They're at the same events sometimes, kids' birthdays, whatever. But at the end of the day, she wants what's best for Stassi and it's all love. Co-parenting with Jax is very hard. They're doing their best but again, it's very difficult. Like it doesn't sound like anything has gotten easier even with the sobriety. That's the message we're getting, which I'm not surprised because, again, the addiction is a problem, but the real problem is his personality and that's not going to get fixed by any 30-day treatment. She says that Cruz is doing well. He's making a lot of like progress and taking a lot of steps forward every year or every day, sorry, and that he's very special and he's her favorite person in the world. So we like that. Luke was also there, in case you were wondering. Luke says that he has met LVP. So he was asked about LVP saying that who does Kristen know who the baby daddy is, like making that joke. He says that he's actually met LVP. So that was kind of his response to that comment, as in like, don't pretend you don't know, like, because we've met, right? Like he doesn't say that, but it's implied, I think. And he says basically he doesn't know why she would say that. And he leaves it pretty like political. Britt says there is a 0% chance she's getting back together with Jax. Good. Was there anything else that Brittany said in a different interview, not on Watch What Happens Live? I believe this was on the Reality, I think, podcast. Sorry, I have to double check. Brittany says, yes, virtual reality. Brittany says Jax is sober. She says, or that she believes she does believe he's sober, but she says, unfortunately, his personality is the same. She thought that his sobriety would make a bigger difference than it has, but she says that it hasn't really changed anything and things are still hard. So yeah, that was exactly kind of what I said earlier. Meanwhile, Kristen, where am I? Yes. So Kristen Doty was on the Mention It All podcast and says that when it comes to Lisa Vanderpump, when it comes to like the women of Vanderpump Rules who've been on the show, basically they have all turned on LVP since not being on the show anymore, or they've spoken out in some way. And she says, it kind of just shows you that a lot of it was because she was an executive producer. She was their boss. It's a tough situation. Some of them were just like always like, let me kiss the ring. And, she says that now that they're not on it, things have changed, basically. She says that LVP has all these girls kissing their ass, and now they're really speaking out. So Sheena, in her book that is going to be coming out, she's going to be, according to Kristen and according to Sheena, because she said it on her podcast, she's going to be sharing a lot of gossip and tea about Lisa Vanderpump. And Kristen says she's proud of her and she thinks it's very brave. And she says Sheena's not kissing the ring anymore. And now, according to LVP, or in LVP's view, Sheena is basically like the bottom of Lisa's shoe. Kristen also said she just never kissed the ring when it came to Lisa Vanderpump, which is why she was treated terribly. So yeah, which again, none of that is really surprising. Am I, do I think that Sheena is spilling tea about LVP to sell books? Yes, absolutely. Do I think that it is a smart idea? Also, yes. Will I maybe be buying said book? Possibly. And if I'm not buying it, I will certainly be reading all the tea that comes out of it that I'm sure other people are going to read, highlight, summarize, and put on the internet. So listen, this is going to help her. People want to know the behind the scenes shit about Lisa Vanderpump. Like they just do. Because Lisa Vanderpump is like she has transcended housewives, in many ways. So like she's got a big brand. She's not necessarily like a household name, but she's maybe like close, I think, yeah, I think maybe she is. I don't know what we would consider her, but LVP was asked about this though on Watch What Happens Live. And basically what she said was that, of course, Sheena is going to talk about her in her book because Sheena has nothing else to talk about. So she needs to use LVP's name to, sell copies, which again, isn't necessarily wrong, but not the best comeback. Like that's kind of the comeback you make when you're like, I might have something to hide that might be coming out in Sheena's book. The other thing that Kristen talked about was how she kind of felt on the Mention It All podcast. She kind of felt like when she was watching the last season of Vanderpump Rules, she felt like there was a little bit of snottiness on it, like I'm a celebrity now from a lot of the cast members. And she didn't want that to get brought over to the Valley. And she doesn't want the Valley to become like that. And that is one of the reasons that she initially did not want Sheena and Lala involved in the Valley at all. But she says now that some time has passed and whatever, she's more open to it. So I don't know if it's like, maybe the way that they were during filming, being friends of, like that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe because she has seen, like, in some ways, Lala and Sheena have been, I think, humbled because their show is over. And in a lot of ways, they ruined it, especially Lala. And I think the two of them, have kind of have been taken down a notch. I'm not sure that they see that, but, I do think that them groveling to be friends of on the Valley, I'm sure it gave Kristen a little satisfaction. I would have gotten it, certainly. Okay. Is that all for that part? Let me just see. The other thing, to go back to Watch What Happens Live, because there was a couple little snippets that I forgot about that were important. Brittany was asked about how Jax is in bed on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate Jax in the bedroom? And Brittany says, oh, Lord, there were times when he was a 7 or an 8, but majority of the time, no stamina, no nothing, 2 or 3. Okay. Oh my God. And then a lot of people were this quote like made rounds. Like it was like in every media, on every media's Instagram, people, us, we like this was everywhere. So Brittany did respond to it on at Bravo Snarkside's Instagram, because a lot of people were like commenting and like kind of being like, why would she say that? That's rude. Which those people can like just go away, because she has every right to say that. Okay. Once you throw a coffee table at me, I'm saying whatever I want about your stamina. So Brittany said, let's be clear. I was asked this question on Watch What Happens Live, and it's my right after all the shit I've been through to answer honestly. Exactly. So they can all just fuck off with that. Let's see. Was there anything else? I think that's it for like all the Brittany / LVP stuff. Let me just double check. Yeah, those are the main things, I believe, unless I'm missing anything else. Oh, yes, I did forget. Kristen did also respond to LVP saying that Sheena, was kind of like using her to sell books. And Kristen said, "What an ego response. I'm proud of Sheena for speaking her truth. Not an easy thing to do." And Sheena replied, "ILY, I love you." And yeah, so I guess those two are on good terms now. Seems like it. Meanwhile, LVP played a game while she was on Radio Andy on the Jeff Lewis Live podcast. And she was asked, would she bring back any members of the Vanderpump Rules cast? And in short, basically, the only two she would rehire would be Sheena and Lala, but the rest are no. And again, I don't know exactly when this radio interview was done. I'm assuming, was this before the Sheena thing? Like Sheena saying she's going to talk about her in her book? I don't know. Or maybe she's just basing it on like right now until she's heard what Sheena says. So yeah, it could be that. And then, Lisa Vanderpump she's been having a bad, kind of PR time, I would say, the last, I don't know, few weeks because of the whole, what's it called? James Kennedy thing. And now she's got all the women from Vanderpump Rules speaking out about her. So she did also happen to put out this like PSA on her Instagram where she said, "To all of our wonderful fans, I'm so grateful for your passion and support for my shows. But I must say this, no one deserves to be bullied, harassed, or targeted online. The cast members are human beings with real feelings doing their best in a high pressure environment. Healthy conversation is welcomed, but cruelty is not. Let's uplift, not tear down. Kindness always wins. Hashtag stop cyberbullying." Okay. A lot of people were not here for this. There was a lot of comments about like, well, LVP, now that like you're kind of on the receiving end of getting a lot of hate because you're getting called out by Sheena, Kristen, Katie Maloney, like now all of a sudden you're fine with it. But like you're fine to, in the past, you're fine to like add fuel to the fire and like say snide remarks and mean things about Kristen Doty, and then she gets tons of hate and you never do, So people are all over the hypocrisy, of course. Now, I'm not sure if Lisa Vanderpump, if this was in specific reference to like something that happened on Vanderpump Villa. I don't know because I don't watch that show. I just know that this quote was posted soon after she was on Watch What Happens Live, and then it's been like making its rounds, being shared all over social media since then. Okay. Now, it's not just, Kristen and Brittany and, Sheena and the women who are getting into lots of drama here. There are, of course, we know Jax, that goes without saying. But, there's some drama when it comes to the men as well happening right now because he's still being Jax for a couple of reasons. So number one, he sends a DM to @CC Loves You on Instagram and responds to, what is it? A picture of Brittany saying she doesn't look like that and she was hammered. And then CC replies and says, "What do you mean she doesn't look like that? This is her, no?" And he says she edits her pics. Okay, Jax. Like literally, no. First of all, every single Bravo celebrity edits their pics, no matter what gender they are. They all do it. And if you think that any of them don't, and they've said that they don't, they are in fact a liar, just so you know. Not only do they all edit their pics, but your friends and family, at least 50% of them also do, probably more. So I don't know what he thinks he's accomplishing calling this out. Like, what do you think Jax hasn't used like some sort of airbrush to get rid of like, a couple wrinkles or something? Like, give me a break, like get out of here. So then Zach responded and said, "Until he doesn't look like a shiny red tomato in every picture / scene, I don't think anyone should be trusting what he says." I also am like, you have been calling her fat and calling her a tree trunk, including when she was pregnant. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, that took a hit on her self-esteem and now she feels like she needs to edit her pictures. And Brittany's also been through the ringer with the audience because the audience has been so mean about her body image, I think, for years. And I see comments all the time to this day. So like and then I saw people being like, oh my God, does she edit her pics? Who cares? If she does, it's your fault. You, the commenter, because you're being an asshole. Okay. What else we got? Oh yeah, another Jax being Jax story. Sorry, I'm all over the place with the Valley and Vanderpump because I put them all in the same folder thing today, and I think I shouldn't have done that because I'm getting mixed up. But anyways, the other thing that happened is that Jax is getting called out by Kristen Doty because so Jax is selling some merch on his website, and he has merch for the Valley, and he's selling like this hoodie. It's like, you know, like an off-white hoodie, and then it has like a darker off-white beige writing on it that says the Valley in a specific font. Okay. And then Kristen, I guess, sent him a DM, and then she screenshotted it and shared it to her Instagram for all of us to see. And we love that for us and her. And she said, Jax, kindly remove your quote unquote Valley merch immediately. It is an exact and clear ripoff of James May. And then she posted some comparison photos, and yeah, it's the same. Like the only thing he changed is the color. So like the sweatshirt color, whereas on her James May website, she had made like Valley shirts and sweaters with that same font. It's like that classic like athlete, you know, Athletica type of font. I don't know what to call it. Not Athletica, but like, guys, I'm the worst. What is it called? Like sports kind of font. I don't know, whatever. And you know, you would have like the name of like a university on or whatever college, like that type of font. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, he's got that. She's got that in like different colors. He's done it in like beige, but it's like just Jax is a natural stealer. Like he would steal from LVP, from Sir Restaurant. He stole sunglasses. Like I think like for him, stealing an idea is the same as like when he stole, you know, like Pepper Mills from Sir. Like to him, it's like natural. He's like, what's the big deal? Like I don't see what the big deal is. And I don't see Jax as someone like creative who's like designing, nor do I see him paying someone to design. Like I could just see him just ripping shit off. So I'm not surprised at all. Now, that's not the end of Jax's strife for the week, because he is also getting called out by Tom Sandoval. And you know it's bad when you're getting called out by Tom Sandoval. I don't think I need to say much else. But here's what Tom Sandoval says. Not that I'm putting like a ton of stock into what Tom Sandoval says, but this is like two, you know, pathological liars slash, you know, narcissists in an argument. It's kind of good because like I don't really care who's right and wrong. I can just eat popcorn and watch. But basically, Sandoval had like this clip from his podcast where he talks about how him and Tom Sandoval spoke on the phone. And in this phone call, you know, Jax allegedly apologized for ways that he's mistreated Tom Sandoval in the past. Okay. So then Jax, this is kind of like a topic for his podcast episode. It comes out, clips of it are online, whatever. So Sandoval replies to it and says, come on, man, don't do this. You know, we didn't speak on the phone. You just sent me a text apologizing for the first time 2 days before this podcast dropped. I haven't even had the chance to respond, but it seems like you just texted me that for your podcast. It definitely doesn't feel genuine now. And then he also followed up with we were not on and off again, because Jax was trying to say their friendship was off and on again at all. I was asleep in the other room. Do we call that pre-karma? Because I guess like Jax was as well talking about how like he got, you know, his karma because he had slept with Kristen when Tom was in the other room or whatever. You know, and he was kind of, I guess he was trying to like downplay it a little bit, like in terms of like the shakiness of him and Tom's friendship. But, you know, Tom is calling him out on that. Now, listen, Jax is a liar. So is Tom Sandoval. In this situation, though, just based on the facts of this situation and the podcast episode, if I have to choose one of the two devils to believe, not necessarily even agree or have empathy for, but just believe it's going to be Tom Sandoval. Because Jax is totally the type that would send you a text so that he has a topic to talk about on his podcast the next day because he doesn't have anything to talk about. He's like, oh, in the mind of a man, we can talk about being a man and, you know, how part of that is learning to apologize and own up for our mistakes from the past and whatever. So, like, I can just totally see that because everything Jax does is lazy. Like, that's one of the other reasons that he's kind of like, you know, he lies and he manipulates a lot, but he gets caught a lot because he's pretty lazy about things. Like, I feel like he's always trying to take the shortcut, you know, same with like copying Kristen Doute's design. Like, I could see him being like, oh, I need a podcast episode. Oh shit, I have to record in 1 hour and I have nothing ready. Like, I could just see that happening. So it just makes sense. It makes sense to me. So whatever makes sense is usually what's true. All right, so let's go on to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But we're still going to talk about Lisa Vanderpump and her Watch What Happens Live visit. But this time we're going to talk about her comments about Kyle Richards. It's insane how I can be so anti Lisa Vanderpump when it comes to Vanderpump Rules in the Valley. Like, when it comes to that show, I just want to like get all the women from the Valley and Vanderpump Rules and be like, stand behind me and like be like, stay away from them, Lisa. And like, I just disagree with Lisa about everything, can't stand her. But then when she goes after Kyle, I'm like, okay, I can get down with that. It's like, it's just like, you know, you have to pick your poison in that situation because Lisa's not necessarily that much better than Kyle, let's be honest. However, I just happen to agree with Lisa when it comes to more of, not all of the Kyle stuff, but more of it. But obviously, we all heard that thing where Kyle at the reunion said that she was like originally looking at a house across from LVP. And even Kathy Hilton was like, why would you even mention that? I still, to this day, I'm like, Kyle's obsessed with her. It's crazy. So then Andy, of course, brought it up. And then Lisa did this like top 5 countdown, the top 5 things LVP would do if Kyle moved across the street from her. First thing, put my house on the market. So these are quotes from LVP. First thing, put my house on the market. My doorbell ring would be goodbye, Kyle. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Imagine. I want that as my doorbell. I want Ken being like, goodbye, Kyle. And then I'd have an electric fence that would sort out that straight hair she's got. I don't even know what that means, but it's funny. My swans, my attack swans, Hanky and Panky, would go into gear. And then Lisa continued and said, listen, she's got a clothes shop. She got a clothes shop that was 100 yards from my restaurant before, right? And she continuously comes up to me. It's like, doesn't she get the message? I sometimes feel she wants to sit on my lap. She didn't buy the house because the offer wasn't accepted. She's not always totally transparent, as we've seen on the show. The house is 15 feet from me. She went there 4 times. Like, why would you go there 4 times? I mean, why doesn't she just ask to stay in my guest bedroom or something? Yeah, like, here's the thing. I wouldn't only take LVP's word on this just based on this interview if it was the only thing. But the majority of my evidence when it comes to Kyle being weirdly obsessed with LVP is from Kyle, not LVP. It's from things that Kyle says and does straight from the horse's mouth. Like, she couldn't help. She didn't need to say that at the reunion, but she couldn't help it. She couldn't help like putting a pink swing in her backyard. Like, she just does so many weird LVP coded things, and she just brings her up so often in interviews and stuff, or like she just, I think it's that one relationship that really gets under her skin. And I think, and I do also think that she desperately wants it back on some level. So I don't know. Anyways, what was the other thing that LVP said? She was also asked about Garcelle. And she said about Garcelle unfollowing the cast. And she said very simply, and I'm sure she had this PR answer ready, but she said, Garcelle is a follower. I mean, I just fucked that up. Garcelle, so bad. Garcelle is a leader, not a follower. Which this is like the one thing I can agree with LVP on is her love for Garcelle. That's like the only thing that I can 100% get behind her on. Well, and her hate for Kyle. Let's not forget that. That's important. She also defended PK. Okay. I'm not totally against that because I'm not fully like I don't trust him or Dorit, and I think they're both kind of scam artists. But I do think he's like a terrible person still, don't get me wrong, but clearly Lisa hates Dorit more than she hates PK. So that's whose side she's taking. But she basically said that PK is a good guy and takes issue with Dorit labeling him a bad father. She also says that Dorit is fake. Well, I mean, you can't argue with that. I think we all know that. Meanwhile, Kyle Richards was interviewed about Garcelle leaving Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and she said, I was excited that our friendship was blossoming and going to a deeper level, and then now she's gone. Oh, fuck off, Kyle. She's gone partly because of you, first of all, and second of all, because you told her some secrets doesn't mean that your friendship necessarily went deeper. Like, it's like you probably told her those secrets because you were like testing her to see if she would be one of your minions. And since she wasn't, it was like then you went after her with everybody else in the gang up. So get out of here with that. Kyle's daughter, meanwhile, Sophia, 25, reveals hair loss after taking a weight loss drug. Listen, I don't know what is going on, but she is getting so much blowback over this. She posted this like TikTok video, whatever. And it's basically like, guys, I'm going to like show you like how much hair I'm losing. Cause I'm sorry, that's kind of how she talks. It's crazy. If you're triggered by hair, don't watch. And then she shows like hair in her sink and she shows hair on the shower wall. Okay. And she's like, ever since I started taking Manjaro, I've been losing all this hair. And like, all I could think about while I watched this video was, why are you taking a weight loss drug? Like, somebody tell me why this tiny girl is taking a weight loss drug. So then the video goes on. And again, my first thought was clearly thousands of other people because that's the comment she's getting. And then tons of comments about that, thousands. And then she starts talking about how she believes that she's losing her hair because of the drug and she'll be bald within a month if she keeps going. And like, what she showed us in the video, like it's actually even worse than that. But I'm not going to stop taking it. My solution is let me show all you guys all these supplements and vitamins or like whatever that I'm going to take. And she says within a month, my hair is going to be totally back to its old natural thickness. And she has like super long hair, which when you have super long hair, like you do shed a lot more, or depending on like the thickness of your hair or how much you have. Anyways, so then she starts talking about how she's going to be taking these supplements, and then she starts showing them to the camera and doing her little influencer pitch. And I was like, oh, okay, here we are. So I don't even know if she's really taking this weight loss drug or she's just pretending because apparently this is a side effect with this drug. And then she's just using it to then sell the protein powder because she started going on about how she thinks it's because she's, it makes her less hungry. So she's probably like protein, she's protein starved. She's not getting enough of those vitamins from protein, whatever. And then now she's going to be taking this supplement and it's going to make her hair come back, even though she hasn't even tried it yet. And she's claiming that she knows within a month her hair will be back. It's like something is suspect here. So it's either that she's lying about taking a prescription medication that is not meant for somebody who's very small and not overweight. So it's either she's lying about taking that and losing her hair in order to sell protein powder on Instagram and TikTok or whatever, or there's one other option. She's actually taking a weight loss drug, which is fucking crazy because I'm sorry, she just does not need it. And her hair is actually falling out and she's using this as an excuse to, again, sell protein powder that she's not even sure if it'll work yet because she hasn't been taking it long enough. So it's kind of misleading and dishonest in that way. Either way, both bad situations, both of them bad choices, and either way, just not good. So yeah, it just seems very suspect to me. And this is why, like, you cannot trust influencers selling stuff like this, and like making these claims. It's just so crazy. The other thing that I was like taken aback by in this video was when she showed the hair. I didn't think it was that much hair. Like, she showed it. I was like, yeah, that's what I lose in the shower every day. And like, I have that much hair in my sink, like when I straighten my hair with a straightener. So I was like, is this supposed to be like some shocking amount? Like, I didn't think, and my hair is like fine and full, and I don't have any, like, knock on wood, bald spots or anything like that. I know some people deal with that. So I was just kind of like, I feel like this is a lot of this is a lie. Like, I just really feel like a lot of this is a lie. Okay. So yeah, Kyle, maybe it's time to talk to Sophia. I don't know. It's just a little weird. Now Kyle, in an interview on a red carpet, said that she has not spoken to Dorit since Dorit filed for divorce. And since the news broke that he was seen kissing another blonde reality star, though Kyle says she did send her a text. Okay, Kyle and her fucking texts. Like, it's like, oh my God, it's just crazy. Kyle always is like, well, I sent a text, so I'm good. Like, that's that's the kind of friend Kyle is. Like, Kyle's like, well, I covered my ass, so I'm good. Don't worry about it. And then she'll get mad if Dorit's like, why didn't you call me? She'll be like, I sent a text. What are you talking about? I sent a text. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's talk about some Real Housewives of Atlanta news. In the after show, Angela Oakley says that Portia Williams fucks other people's husbands as a sport. Oh, okay. I agree, but let's continue. So obviously she was being shady, but basically they're talking about the whole, like, the whole thing that happened on the trip where Angela was listening to them talking shit about her. Okay. So on the after show, Shamia admits that she was talking shit about Angela. And see, this is kind of why I like Shamia, because she just admits it. She's like, yeah, I was. And I'm like, thank you. Just say at that time, Angela was annoying me. I didn't like her at that time. I was talking shit. Right. And even like Portia being like fully caught for this and being like fully called out by like Kelly, like, yeah, I heard you say it, still can't own up to it. This is what drives me crazy about Portia to this day. She's always been like this. She can never just admit and take accountability, and it drives me crazy. She always finds some backdoor way to go around it and beat around the bush without ever directly just admitting and saying sorry. It reminds me of Kyle Richards, who also does that. They have very different personalities, fine, but they both do that when it comes to like accountability. So sorry, I went off on a tangent. So Shamia admits she was talking shit about Angela. She says, yeah, I said, I think it's weird. I've met Charles and I know him, but I've never seen or met Angela, and I think that's weird. She also said that she doesn't think Angela dresses very well. Okay. And that was what she said. Portia, meanwhile, is like fully like playing dumb. Well, I mean, maybe like a little bit of acting dumb, also dumb. But anyways, Portia is, I'm kidding, is acting dumb. And she's like, I don't remember what I said. We were all a bit tipsy. Oh my God. But then she makes a comment about how, well, when I go to bed, I just go to bed. I don't go and stand in a doorway. Okay, so it's Angela's fault. I see what you're doing. And this is the other thing that pisses me off about Portia. It's like, I see what you're doing. Now it's the victim's fault. So you're talking shit about someone, but instead of owning up to saying, yeah, I talked badly about my friend, coworker, whatever, instead of just owning up to it and apologizing, well, it's her fault because she said she was going to bed and you shouldn't have been standing there. Like, Portia is the type who, like, I don't even know. She'll be not paying attention and she'll trip and fall. And then she'll be like, yeah, but who like built the floor that way? Like, it's never like, let's take some accountability. So she says, so she tries to deflect with that. Now Kelly speaks up and says, yeah, Portia did say she would fuck her husband. And then Angela says, yeah, Portia fucks people's husbands for sport. So once I heard her say that, I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And I went to confront them. Well, good, as you should. Like, see, and that's what I like about Angela is she confronts things head on. She's not like scared to broach things. And I think that's a good quality, especially in a housewife. Meanwhile, Mia Thornton is still tormenting us. She says that she actually quit RHOP during the reunion. So that her walking off was her quitting. I mean, listen, you were like fired, quit. Like you were leaving, but even if you'd stayed, you weren't going to be asked back. And I still think that if they had reached out to her and offered her a contract, she would have taken it 1000%. But I mean, no, like she left the reunion and I've never seen people care less about someone leaving the reunion. Like no one gave a shit. It was actually hilarious. But she alludes to wanting to join Real Housewives of Atlanta. She also is being seen in the Atlanta streets. So there's a video of her getting out of her car with guess who? Ink. So I guess Giselle was right. She is still with Ink and she does still live in Atlanta. Are we surprised? No, because Mia lies about everything. Like literally everything. Um and here's the other thing is we can't put Mia on Atlanta, number one, because I don't like her and I don't want her there. But number two, because we have enough liars on Atlanta. We don't want to have too many of those. Like we've got Portia, we've got Drew, we've got Britt, all pretty big liars. Like I think we need less. We like it's good to have a couple liars on the cast because it can be funny and it creates storyline and they get especially ones like Drew that are so bad at it and they get like called out all the time. Like I'm Michael Jordan's cousin, and then like 2 weeks later it's like no you aren't. Oh yeah I was joking. That stuff is fine, but like Mia, it's too much. Meanwhile, in an interview, I guess this is kind of Real Housewives of Potomac / Atlanta because I also have an interview clip from Giselle talking about Atlanta. Basically, on virtual reality, she was asked about her opinion about the whole like Brit versus Kenya thing. And Giselle says Brit Edie, who she calls Pistol Girl, should have been fired on the spot. Giselle says if one is gone, they both should be gone. If one is there, they both should be there. Okay. I think a lot of the audience agrees with that from the Atlanta audience, to be honest. So, yeah. We appreciate you chiming in. Meanwhile, in Real Housewives of Salt Lake City news, um, SLC star Whitney Rose quietly shuts down beauty line and loses a fortune, but is rebranding with a new company. So basically, what is being reported is that she's rebranding. So Whitney Rose is rebranding her beauty company, and this is maybe for the third time, sorry, in 4 years after apparently losing her family's life savings in doing so. So, according to the US Sun, not the most reliable source, but we'll go with it for this because this is just, this is all like word on the street, alleged. I'm going to consider it because I feel like the US Sun has a lot of anon sources and, they're just kind of known being a little, I don't know, tabloid-ish. And yeah, apparently she's lost a fortune in the process of the beauty line. Wild Rose Beauty has shuttered its doors. I believe they mean shut. And it's transitioned into a new company that the reality TV star launched on the down low, but she hasn't posted about. So according to an insider close to Whitney, she shut down her beauty Wild Rose Beauty last year, basically without telling anyone or announcing anything official. The source also says they lost a fortune. The loss was well into the 6-figure range, especially since they had just rebranded it. I mean, listen, I remember thinking like, why are you doing this big rebranding and spending all this money when like I don't think that the branding is necessarily the problem. I think it's just that you're another housewife shilling something that has been shilled by a million other housewives and the market is way oversaturated and like no one like, I don't think it matters what the branding is in this case, Whitney. Like, I just don't think so. And I don't think that Whitney is like transcended Housewives in a way or is on a level where she can really stand out in this market. So yeah. So apparently it has quietly rebranded to Soul People. Now, apparently, you know, I have heard things about Whitney, like her business being like an MLM and being shady. So that could also be part of it. So I'm not sure, but you know, I'm sure more news will come out. Now, Whitney also reposted this story and said, false information. Please don't post about me, my family, or my business without fact checking. The Wild Rose Beauty is not done and she will be available for sale again soon. I am no longer a part of Soul People, for the record. Okay, so you were a part of Soul People and Wild Rose Beauty is not available for sale right now. It will be available soon. So you did shut your business down? Doesn't sound like completely false. Like she's making this out like it's like completely inaccurate. You did shut down your beauty brand. Even if you say it's going to be up and running and available again soon. Right now, it's not. So can we at least admit to that? I don't know. Like there's something fishy happening. Meanwhile, Meredith Marks is denying rumors that she was suspended. So we have heard this, through like secondary sources, but now straight from Meredith, she says on her Instagram story, create mode, I was not suspended and have never been physically violent in my life. Because I guess people were trying to like spread these rumors that she had actually been violent with a cast member. She says, please stop fostering these lies started by ... Some people work overtime with their smear campaigns with a heart. So yeah, she doesn't say who she's referring to, but leaves the ... for some mystery, because you know what? She's a showman. Okay. Meanwhile, in Real Housewives of Orange County news, they went to Amsterdam for their final cast trip of the season. So they were filming there. We have Heather, Shannon, Tamra, Gina, Emily, Jen, Katie, even Gretchen, the friend of. However, there were some rumors floating around that, Katie had some huge altercation. She left the trip early because of it. She's not filming with them anymore. From what I've heard, this is not true, that she did actually leave early, but it was to like attend some sort of like court date or something. And it has nothing to do with like the other ladies, and that she's very much still part of the show. So not to worry, Katie fans. All right. And we do have news about Jennifer Pedranti. So according to In Touch, Jennifer Pedranti from Real Housewives of Orange County was ordered by a judge to pay nearly $166,000 in a legal judgment related to unpaid rent for her yoga studio. So the total includes $160,000 in unpaid rent, $5,900 in attorney fees. So the total's around $165,000. And the court has sided with the landlord, Jennifer, and her business partners lost the case. Okay. So that's not good. Also not new, but, kind of going along with, I guess, Jen's sort of absent-mindedness and I don't know, just her like lack of responsibility when it comes to taking care of her bills and stuff. I mean, listen, I was never on Tamra's side, of course. I was always on Jen's side. But one thing I will say is that, it's time to figure out what you're doing and you need to pay your debts. So that is a thing. And now you're making Housewives money. So, time to catch up on that. Just saying. Meanwhile, and you know what? Actually, not meanwhile. Maybe Ryan needs to less trips to Vegas, maybe help his girlfriend out more. I mean, I know it's not his responsibility, but I'm just saying. Okay, let's talk about Summer House. So Sierra was on Watch What Happens Live. And when asked about, her and Jesse's relationship, she said her and Jesse are friends. we always have a good time when we hang out, we party, etc. And she said, by the way, this whole rumor that's being spread by Lexi about us not going to her birthday to hang out together is not true. Okay. So now in the interview, Lexi says the only two people who didn't respond to my invitation were Jesse and Sierra. So she doesn't say they're the only two that didn't go. So Sierra does say like the only, because a lot of people on the internet are like, well, okay, the only two people that went to the birthday are Imrul and Gabby. So how are you going to say Sierra and Jesse are the only two who didn't go? She did technically say responded. However, it doesn't really matter. There's still like kind of a strong implication that, they're in cahoots or something. And either way, Sierra says that it is not true that her and Jesse hung out that night or that they didn't go to hang out or however it was implied. And then West on virtual reality says, actually, this whole birthday party interview thing from Lexi ended up being brought up at the reunion and discussed. So, okay. Lexi, I guess, is going to be having her feet held to the fire a little bit with that. And I mean, listen, she's got somewhat of an easy out because she can say, well, no, I said you two didn't respond. But she is going to have to answer for the implication that they hung out, So she is going to have to answer for that. Meanwhile, what else we got? Lindsay was spotted with Jessel at the Kentucky Derby, and we just love that. I'm hoping that it is a soft launch to Lindsay being on RHONY because she has now been photographed with both Aaron and Jessel. Love that. And she was asked in an interview if she'll be coming back to Summer House. She says she doesn't know. She says, I don't know if I'll be returning to the house next summer, but she says she'll probably be there, but she won't be around every weekend, like living at the house every weekend, which, yeah, that makes sense. So we shall see what happens with that. Meanwhile, Joe D'Amelio, there's a name we haven't said in a while. If you remember, he was the guy that Paige was spotted with a whole bunch of times, like after her and Craig broke up. And then all of a sudden they stopped being spotted together. So I think everyone has just kind of assumed that they broke up. But she posted like, a TikTok just of herself, Joe D'Amelio's ex-fiance. And her name is, what's her name? Rachel. I can't remember what her last name is right now. Sorry. But his ex-fiance, Rachel, posted a TikTok of herself, just like look at my makeup, look at my look kind of thing. And somebody responded and said, speak up about Paige, please. And she responded and said, I said what I said and I stand by it. Okay. So what she said, if you remember, is basically she was texting my fiance while we were still together and encouraging him to break up with me so that they could date. And this was back in the fall. So yeah. So she stands by that. She stands by her statement. Okay. All right. Where else was I? Salt Lake City, Summer House. We did that. I'm just thinking if I'm missing anything. I think that is everything for today. My apologies if I was a bit scattered. I just, yeah, listen, I'm having some not the best sleeps lately. I'm still dealing with the cat. Love him. He's amazing. He bit my hand so hard at 3 a.m. last night. It woke me up. So, I'm just not my full self. So my apologies. That being said, I hope you enjoyed the episode today. Don't forget to check out my Valley after show recap for episode 3. I put that up on Monday, so please go back to your feed and make sure you don't miss it. And if you would like bonus content, go to patreon.com/Bravo and Botox, and there's bonus episode every week for you. Okay, everyone, thank you so much, and you are now in the know for everything Bravo. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoy the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.